Okay, good evening. Welcome to our webinar this afternoon for university level courses. I'm just going to pause for a moment just to give people a chance to click through and come into the room. If you could just let me know in the chat panel to the right of the screen that you can hear me, that'd be fantastic. If you could just give me a thumbs up or just let me know you can hear, please, that'd be fantastic. Brilliant. That's great to know. Thank you very much. Okay, I'll just pause for another couple of seconds just while people join us. Excellent. Okay, right. Well, we'll get started. So thanks for coming along to our webinar this evening. We're going to be focusing on our university level programs. My name's Steve. I'm going to be your host for the next 30 minutes or so, and I'm joined by Dan from our higher education team. And Dan's going to be telling you more about those programs, but he's also here to answer your questions today as well. As we go through, if you've got questions that you'd like me to put to Dan, if you put those in the chat panel for me, and I'll make sure that we deal with those for you at some point before we finish today. Now, obviously, we would love nothing more than to be running a normal open event at the moment. You know, we love having people come into our campuses, particularly our University Centre Maidstone, where a lot of our higher education provision takes place. We would love to have you in to see those facilities, see the spaces where you'd be learning and meet the people that are going to be teaching you. Obviously, we can't do that at the moment, so I'm really sorry about that, but you will find on our website lots of 360-degree photos of our facilities, so please do have a look at those. But although I can't bring you to the campus, I can still give you access to our staff to answer your questions. So I'm really grateful to Dan for taking the time to come and spend with us this evening. Just so that we can get a view as to who we've got in the room, if you go to the top of your screen on the right hand side, you'll see a tab called polls. If you wouldn't mind for me just answering that question there, I'm just interested to know whether you have already applied for a higher education course at the college or you're here to find out more. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Dan, those are coming in. I think, although not everybody's answered, it's probably fair that we've got a mix, actually. So we've got people that have already applied to come and study a university level program and others who are here to find out more information. So we'll try and make sure that we cater for both audiences as we go through. So I'd just like to kick us off really by sharing just a short video from Simon Cook, who's our principal, who just wanted to give you a welcome to this evening's session. So I'll just play that for you now.
Hello there, I'm Simon and I'm the principal of MidKent College. It's great to be able to talk to you, and I so wish I would be able to talk to you in person, but virtually, hopefully your opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the college will help you with your decisions that you need to make. So over the next 30 minutes in this virtual open event, you're going to have an opportunity to meet one of the tutors from your chosen subject area. Really make the most of that time to find out what it means for you. Ask some questions. No question is a silly question. Please ask whatever question you've got. Take some notes, but make sure that you've got the info that you really need to make that decision about what you want to do in September. And if you're really not sure what you want to do, then you're not the only person. There are lots of people every year that we see. It won't be any different the current year under these current circumstances who really don't know what they want to do. There might be even some of you who are thinking you really don't know what to do because you see what's going on in the world and you're not quite sure what job prospects there may be. By the time you finish your programme, the world will be a different place again, and there will be many more opportunities then that may not exist now. So talk to our staff about it. And also don't be frightened if you don't know what you want to do. Have a look at some of our other sessions. Come into other sessions and see. What's really important, and one thing I say to everybody who comes into the college, you must feel comfortable with the people that you're going to be sharing your next few months and years with. And I want you to feel comfortable that you're going to be able to flourish and thrive as a person. Not just study a qualification, but flourish and thrive as a person with those people you talk to. So if you don't get any of the answers that you think you need in the virtual session, we've got a brilliant team on our course inquiries, and we've got a brilliant team in our careers office who will help you navigate the language, what options there are, and for you, what's the right thing to do, which is a question we often get asked every year. I hope you enjoy your session, And I really hope that I get to see you very soon at the college, and we look forward to welcoming you with us in September, if not in person, virtually, that's for sure. Good luck.
Okay, well, thanks very much to Simon for filming that for us. Dan, I'm just going to bring your slides up on screen now. So as Dan's speaking, if there's anything that Dan mentions that you think, actually, I'd love to know more about that, or even if you think Dan hasn't mentioned something that you'd like to ask, then again, use that chat panel to the right. And I forgot to mention that we've got Karen here as well, who's popped a comment in there, who's helping to look after you in the chat today, and will help us make sure that we don't forget to answer your question. If for whatever reason we can't answer your question today, then we will come back to you using the address you registered with for today's session, and we'll make sure that you get that answer. So yeah, please do keep those questions coming. But Dan, for the moment, over to you.
Lovely. Thank you, Steve. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. As Steve said, hopefully I'll go through and kind of sort of give you an overview of the department and what higher education looks like at MidKent College, and equally what our plans are for September. Obviously, being maybe a bit of an unusual year in regards to the current situation that we're all faced with, and hopefully, if you've got an idea of course that you're thinking of doing, how it might kind of look certainly from September, and the exciting plans we've got going forward with it. So I'll give you a bit of an overview of what we can actually offer for those that are here to kind of find out more information. Okay, so the first one I wanted to start with is the HNC in business. Okay, so most of our courses certainly at MidKent College are part-time. What we've actually got with a lot of our courses are a lot of adult learners. So our particular niche now, our market is based around those that might already be employed, or certainly those that might be thinking of maybe a career change, or looking to upskill or something along the lines of that. So we actually have quite a good reputation, and certainly quite a good setup in regards to part-time education, certainly at a higher education level. We do everything from level 4, level 5, and level 6. And the first one I just want to kind of discuss with you is the HNC in Business and Management. So this one, as I say, is a part-time course. It's spread over 2 years, so that will be 2 full academic years. And as you can see, as it states there, it's 1 day per week in attendance. So fundamentally, what we're actually suggesting is that many of our students that are workers could potentially come to us on a part-time basis with like day release from work, or balancing it around part-time work. We tend to know what sort of day you will be required to attend in advance, so that can be kind of sort of discussed as and when applications are made and things like that. This particular course, we have a new cohort starting in September 2020, and there is no changes to that under the current situation. And yeah, we're looking forward to welcoming new students into this particular area. This is a really good course that can certainly help upskill, or certainly for people that might want to deviate within the world of business and things like that, certainly with management in line. And as you can see at the bottom there, some example modules where you'd be focusing would be certainly if you were managing people. Obviously the financial management, which falls into a lot of areas within the running of the business, marketing, strategic management, all those types of things. There's just a little quick snapshot of what would actually be covered. We have a really good progression pathway actually that is already agreed with the University of Kent Business School. So the idea is that for those students that complete the HNC Business and Management with us over the 2-year period, there is actually a agreed pathway, as I say, with the University of Kent, where you could actually go up, and what we do within higher education, it's called topping up. So the idea is that you could then go on to a level 5 course, so that might be an entry point 2 of a degree, and actually join to top up to the next stage of the higher education framework, as it were. So this is a University of Kent qualification, so it is validated by them. So you would be a University of Kent student as much as you would be a MidKent College student. It's just delivered by us as a strategic partner. Okay, so that's our HNC in Business and Management. Okay, if we just move on to our next course, which is the HNC in Health and Social Care. This is actually one of our only full-time courses that we do offer. It's full-time and it's a 1-year course. This one, as you can well imagine, being full-time does require attendance on a couple of days a week, and we are expecting to have a September 2020 start date with a cohort ready to go. This one is a little bit different, where obviously the last qualification was University of Kent. This one is through one of our partners, which is Pearson. You might know them as ZXL or BTEC, or they're different kind of sort of phrases that they're known as within the sector. But it's a higher national qualification, and the qualification awarding body is Pearson. As you can see, I've on a couple of the slides, I'm listing kind of what our course fees are, and little breakdowns there. So certainly ask me some more questions about that later if you needed any guidance, etc. This particular qualification, as you can well imagine, with health and social care, is a very important subject at the moment, and certainly my understanding of the sector has seen a real increase in applications from people that are looking to join and follow that kind of sort of career pathway. Obviously very rewarding and very fulfilling in the current times. With this particular qualification, there is a little bit of an if you like, a bit of an unusual sort of point, in that there is an industry placement that is needed with it. Now, to actually enroll onto the program, you don't have to necessarily have that industry placement in place. Okay, so where you can see 225 hours, you don't necessarily, as I say, have to have that in place to actually get onto the course. We can actually help you with that, working with our local partners, work in the health and social care kind of sort of fields with around the Maidstone area, and we can help you get that kind of work experience type sort of placement if need be. Obviously, you can progress on to a degree program, and many universities that are all listed within the Pearson website take students, Christchurch, Canterbury being locally. University of Kent, again, do take our Pearson students onto their programs for a topping up process. So this is kind of sort of stage one of what could potentially be a 3-year degree, maybe going into nursing or something along the lines of that. Because it is a full-time program, you would need to apply for this one via UCAS, where most of our other courses being part-time, you can apply directly via a website. But we have actually got a link on our college website where you can actually then take you to UCAS to find the course and apply that way. It's HE regulations that any full-time programs are applied via UCAS. Part-time provision can actually be done directly with the partner college, obviously us in this case. Okay, so that's the HNC in health and social care. So we'll carry on moving through. Okay, the next one is our HNC in engineering. Okay, and we've got, again, a part-time program, which is a 2-year course. This one is validated through the University of Greenwich. So it's University of Greenwich qualification with us as the delivering partner. As I say, part-time 2 years, it would be 1 day per week attendance. And again, we're having a September 2020 start date for these. We have 3 pathways on offer, which are currently mechanical, electrical, and electronic. Okay, and the way that we do deliver it with the general engineering subjects, if you like, there is the groups sometimes do merge together, because obviously general engineering, there is some common subjects, so quite often they are kind of sort of put together as one group, but our group sizes are generally quite small anyway. Purely for the practical kind of elements that go with our courses. But mechanical and certainly electrical are certainly the ones that seem to be quite sought after, and particularly based around with mechanical and the emergence of manufacturing engineering as well, which is quite an up and coming sort of subject, and I'll come on to that in a second. We do have a progression pathway for this one. So at the end of the 2-year study, there is a fast track pathway which is agreed by the University of Greenwich, and the idea is at the end of the HNC, you would automatically get offered a place if you achieve kind of sort of a pass or a certain grade point average across that, where you can automatically go into their topping up pathways as well, so within their degree programs. Just to give you a bit of a flavour of what sort of modules we'll be covering, as I mentioned, general engineering will be covered, in regards to the deviation from, you've got fluid mechanics, you've got hydraulics, you've got a bit of everything that's kind of sort of thrown in there, thermodynamics and all things that, sometimes I question what on earth it is, but nevertheless, our staff are highly educated. They come from all over the world, and they seem to know what they're talking about, and they always dazzle me with maths and things like that. So, but nonetheless, it's a great course, and actually it's well sought after, and the career opportunities that come with that are very good. And again, as it says at the bottom, the applications obviously can come via our college website. There's one bit just before I move on to this one, is just to also mention is that we've got quite an exciting, I've not put an actual slide in there, but just to kind of, it's kind of emerged quite recently, and that's in regards to it comes under apprenticeships a little bit more than us, although we're the delivery arm, but it's a degree apprenticeship based in manufacturing engineering. Okay, and this is a collaborative delivered program with us and Christchurch Canterbury. The provision is going through validation with Christchurch Canterbury at the moment, and our plan is that it will be ready for taking in new students from January. If you do want to find out some more details, though, it's a level 6 program. So the idea is that you would do level 4 and part of level 5 with MidKent College in the beginning. Then you would transfer to Christchurch Canterbury for the second part of it. So the rest of level 5 and level 6, and it is a 3-year degree apprenticeship. Okay, and emphasis on the word apprenticeship there. So which is why it's actually applied for through the apprenticeship standards and things like that. So we are the delivery arm of the higher education of it, but the actual application process needs to be done with the apprenticeship team. And if you have a little look at the apprenticeship website, the area on our website for apprenticeships rather, you will find out more information about that level 6 program. So that's very exciting. It's pretty hot off the press. As I say, it's going through validation at the moment, so hence why marketing is certainly not ready for the general public, but it's one that will be coming out very, very shortly. So I'm quite excited to share that news with you tonight. Okay, moving on to the HNC and HND and the BSc in construction. So construction is one of our biggest programs. We're a little bit different in that we actually cover this one off in a shorter period of time. Actually, it is still part-time, but it's actually 18 months course for each level of that. So the HNC would be 18 months, the HND 18 months, and then the BSc, so the degree top-up, would be 18 months as well. So the idea is that over the course of 4.5 years, you potentially could get a degree in 4.5 years part-time, which is quite unusual. Generally, what you'll find with most universities and colleges is that it would take 6 years to do a part-time degree. That tends to be the norm. As I say, it's 1 day per week attendance. We don't have a cohort starting in September due to the practical natures of it, and obviously in the current environment, and obviously the blended learning approach, which will more than likely be in place come September. We're envisaging a January 2021 start for our construction programs. As I say, it takes 18 months, 4.5 years. It's a validated, which is through the University of Greenwich again. Course fees are still to be confirmed at that sort of stage, because we have to wait for student loan companies to kind of kick in, but we're not envisaging any kind of fee increases. So part-time courses will be pretty similar to those that you saw, for example, business and things like that. As I say, the top-up process is available there. So whilst you can top up via MidKent College, our university partners that we do work quite closely with in the field of construction and engineering would equally, if you wanted to sidestep over into a mainstream university, there is that option for you. And some students do that. Certainly if there is specific pathways that they want to explore. So for example, if you really wanted to degree in surveying or something like that, then what you can actually do is certainly to jump off from us at, say, HND and do your top up in a specialist field that a university might offer you. So so there is that there available. Some example modules, as you can see: building construction, obviously the safety that goes with it, science and materials, construction management, there's CAD, there's all sorts that goes into it, and we're very well resourced and very well resourced in regards to our teaching expertise in regards to those sort of fields. So that's the construction. Very similar to that one that comes is civil engineering, and quite often construction and civil engineering are spoken about in the same sort of context, if you like. And as you can see, fundamentally, there's not actually a huge difference until you get down to the subject level in the way that it's set up. So again, 18-month course. Again, we're looking for a January 2021 start with these particular qualifications. So construction, civil engineering, a little bit different to the others. Greenwich is our partner university for this one. And as you can see, some slightly different modules that you would experience. You've got civil engineering construction, geology and soils, and structural analysis, and those site surveying procedures and things like that that do come that are more suited to maybe someone working in civils, or certainly someone that wants to kind of sort of upskill into those sort of areas. Again, there's more information on our website, and certainly after this kind of sort of process, if you wanted to know a little bit more about modules and things like that through maybe your application or something like that, we can put you in touch with some of our civil engineering team that could talk you through the different kind of sort of the depth of the actual specifications that are built within these programs, should you wish. Okay, just in regards to kind of sort of general HE information, if you like, about ourselves. Whilst we are a small team, we're a very, very good team, and our results have been outstanding really for many, many years. And we're just going through the process of students sitting exams, and despite the current situation, we are carrying on, and we're hoping that some of our students will have some great outcomes in the next sort of few weeks, ready for possibly a virtual graduation in the autumn. As I say, all of our courses are described. So they're delivered at our within our campus. We're based at Maidstone, and we work out of the University Centre at Maidstone. So that's the UCM building, if you're familiar with the local area. We have actually, it's probably one of the best kind of sort of resource colleges that I've certainly ever worked at and seen. It's fantastic, and we've got many kind of sort of laboratories and workshops that are all on site for practical based activities. There's machines that I didn't even know existed, and they're fascinating, and I quite often like going along to see the practical elements when the team are delivering it. And there's many experiments and things that need to be researched, and you with all our courses you'll have a chance to do that, and it's great fun as much as it is kind of getting used to using those types of cutting edge leading equipment. Obviously, we from a lecturing point of view, we've got industry and academic experts. Our whole team hold doctorates and things like that, and have worked all over the world, certainly within construction and civil engineering. They've worked in underdeveloped countries, certainly in Africa, to high complex building and infrastructure projects that you would see within the Western world, particularly in the UK and wider Europe. Some fantastic things that you just can't really comprehend in regards to bridges and motorways and all this sort of thing. They were the lead experts in those sort of fields. As it says there, you obviously our HE courses are available for student loans, so all of those ones that I have mentioned. Obviously, there's many ways that you can obviously fund your course. You can fund it yourself. Quite often, a lot of our students get sponsorship through their employer. But equally, Student Loans Company in England do support those courses that have all been mentioned. Obviously, it's subject to application and successful qualifying criteria, which obviously would be down to you and them, obviously agreeing that, etc. But they are all available to trigger with that. Our website's great for lots of information about those sort of things, and I'm sure Steve, when he does his kind of sort of next stage, will go through some bits and pieces with you about that. The last kind of footnote to that particular point there is obviously we've got the current COVID-19 situation. For those of you that have kind of sort of looked within universities and things like that and follow the news, you probably recognise that many universities are expecting a blended delivery, if you like, kind of sort of what September might look like. Obviously, it's very unknown and it changes almost weekly, but it is expected that quite a lot of our modules will start off as a online blended learning type sort of approach. What we envisage doing, certainly for the practical elements of modules, where it's safe to do so, is to obviously bring students back in, maybe in a bit of a compressed environment. So where you might have practicals that kind of taken over a few weeks, we might find that you come in for 1 or 2 days out of your couple of weeks and undertake those practical activities, maybe in small groups and that sort of thing, obviously dealing with social distancing measures that might be in place at the time. So just to bear that in mind, that predominantly, like most of the sector, it's quite unknown, but it's highly likely that there will be a proportion of any new starters and continuing students that would be online. So one important thing to remember when you're making your decision is obviously think about your technology at home. And I would imagine most of you, if you're here or you're obviously on a webinar, so I would imagine you're quite quite set up for that. But certainly just consider, obviously, that there will be online lessons and things like that taking place. So just something to throw in the mix when you're making your decisions. But hopefully that will give you enough to go on for now. Okay, I think that's pretty much me covered.
Okay, that's
okay, thank you,
excellent.
David.
Thanks, Dan. Lots of really interesting information in there. If we've whizzed past something, or you need to go back and just revisit something that we've said, you will get a recording of this webinar. I think it should come through in about half an hour after we've finished today. So don't worry, you will have the opportunity to go back and revisit. Just to pick up on Dan's last point there, I think in terms of what September might look like for us as a college, our priority is just making sure that everybody that comes onto our campuses is safe, and we'll make decisions about what we do in September based on our ability to keep people safe. We've got about 8,000 students that we work with every year, and obviously trying to bring all of those students on site in a way that we would love to do. We would want nothing more than to have our students in workshops and classrooms with our tutors and teaching staff. But we obviously are quite limited in the number of people that we can safely bring onto campus and into those learning environments at any one time. So I think there's still a lot of planning to do. There's a lot of work on timetables to do around that. But I think Dan, you're absolutely right in sort of your approach that we probably will have that kind of blended start to the year, at least until we get further guidance, which gives us a bit more flexibility. Dan, I'm going to give you just a chance to rest your voice a little bit. I'm going to play a video. It's about 2 minutes long. And it's Liz, who's one of our HNC and construction students, just talking a little bit about her experience and why she chose to come back into education. And then when we come back from that, I'll pick up on some of the questions that have come into the chat for Dan. I'm only going to answer one of them before I play that, and that's we've got a query about when we will be talking about our CIPD programs. Now, we did that. That's our human resources qualifications. We did that earlier in the week as part of our access and professional programs webinar, and Karen's put a link in the chat to you about that, so you can find that to watch your recording. So apologies, we're not covering that one off this evening, but I'm just going to share Liz's video, and then we'll get to some of the other questions, Dan.
I chose to return to education because I changed career. I was a project manager in technology and I didn't see that there was any prospects for me, and it wasn't something I particularly enjoyed. So I changed over to construction and decided that I wanted to do this course. I work for Upskilling as a trainee project manager, so we buy sites and then we build houses for people. The course has helped me because it literally covers everything in my day-to-day role. I think studying as you get older is one of the best things that you can do, because you actually know who you are as a person, so you're more likely to choose a course that you really enjoy. So I probably moan about doing my assignments, but actually I enjoy the content of them because it's really relevant to my work. I would definitely recommend other adults to upskill or retrain. I think as you get older as a person, you know what you want to do, so you'll end up doing a course that you really enjoy and having a career that you want to do forever.
Okay, Dan, hopefully that's given you enough of a rest with your voice. I have just got a couple of questions to put to you, if that's okay. I'm conscious that we're coming to the end of our time together, but I want to make sure that people get the chance to ask questions. So I've got a question about the degree apprenticeship level 6 in manufacturing engineering.
Yep.
And the question is, I've been told that there'll be an interview in order to be accepted. Do you know when that will take place and what the requirements are for entry? I've also been told that it will take 4 years.
Yep. Okay. So that was the one that I kind of sort of mentioned that's a bit off the press, as it were, going through validation at the moment with a January start is where it's been earmarked for. So in regards to the interview process, yes, that is right. There is a if you like a little bit more to it than a normal application for a student kind of coming through our website and things like that. It's just purely because it's a degree apprenticeship. Okay, so there is another party that has to be involved with that, and that would be an employer. Okay, so it's like an apprenticeship, like with many others that you see across level 2, level 3, this is just a level 6 apprenticeship. So the long and short of it is that it's done by the apprenticeship team. It would also be done with Christchurch Canterbury, as there will obviously be a partner involved in it. The student, obviously, who would like to become a degree apprentice, and obviously their employer that would be involved in that process as well. Okay, so that is the idea around the manufacturing engineering course. As I say, very exciting course, one that seems to be good traction within certain engineering and manufacturing engineering companies that have helped put this one together. But it is a degree apprenticeship, so the apprenticeship team will have a certain criteria that they would go to that's a little bit different to your normal kind of entry criteria. Hence why you won't find it in amongst our pages, and it sits with the apprenticeship team. So the idea is they would start those negotiations, look who the employer is, and look how that candidate can be supported through the apprenticeship levy. So obviously what we've got to remember is the apprenticeship is kind of government funded through the apprenticeship levy. So therefore, that's why there's a little bit more of a different approach to it than our traditional kind of sort of HE kind of qualifications.
It might be useful as well. I actually interviewed a member of our apprenticeships team for one of these webinars earlier in the week. The link that Karen's posted into the chat that takes you to recordings of all of our sessions over the last sort of week and a half will include a link to the apprenticeships one. And although we didn't dwell massively on this particular apprenticeship, the level 6, what that session did do was set out really clearly how the partnership approach with the college, the apprentice and the employer works, and all of the things that come together around that. So that might be a really interesting one to look at as well. But obviously, if you've got more questions about apprenticeships, then we can arrange for you to have a conversation with the apprenticeships team to talk that through. But certainly, there's lots of support in place for the employer as well. Dan, we have run out of time, but I'm just going to ask you another couple of questions if that's
Sure.
all right. But I will make it quick. And actually, if there are any more questions come through on the chat, I will prioritise those over anything else that I need to do this evening. So do put your question in if you've got one. One was around, you talked a lot about the partnership approach with our university partners, which I think will be a really important thing for people who are perhaps coming to study university level qualifications in a further education environment. I just wondered if you wanted to say a little bit more about how those partnerships work and the collaborative work that goes on between us and the university.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we couldn't really kind of function our qualifications without our university partners, and we work very aligned with them. So the way that we work is our team will have linked tutors to the equivalent faculties within our university partners. Fundamentally, quite a lot of the actual subjects are actually delivered in the same kind of sort of context, and certainly at the same level, obviously. I think the MidKent College approach suits adult learners, certainly, because it's what I have always referred to. It's not overly a technical term, but for those adults that might need kind of like quite a handheld approach getting back into education. We're quite conscious that quite a lot of our students may have been out of education for 5, 10, 15, 20 years sometimes and never actually kind of gone through that kind of modern day research approach. So for that reason, we work quite well with our adult learners, but nonetheless, we have to work aligned to our university partners, hence why we've got kind of stage by stage progression pathways, and they're very much involved in the actual delivery. We share resources, we share facilities, sort of thing. And fundamentally, the last thing is you are made to feel like a University of Greenwich or a University of Kent student as well. You can go and use their facilities, certainly as a student, the wider things, thinking along the lines of libraries and social life, that sort of thing. So there is certain sort of alignment that we see both academically and the extras that you would expect as a higher education student.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you, Dan. And then one final question, just to close us off. You've talked about HNCs and HNDs, and you've talked about some of our programs actually offering both.
Yep.
For someone who perhaps isn't familiar with that kind of language, what's the difference between an HNC and an HND, and particularly in terms of entry criteria for those programs?
Okay, yeah, certainly. So to put it into, sometimes I always think school language, so if you can imagine like a level 2 2 is like your GCSE traditional. Okay, your level 3 is like your traditional A levels or your vocational qualifications, your BTECs. When you go into higher education, you would start at level 4, and that's known as a higher national certificate, so a HNC. So that's traditionally a level 4 qualification. If you're successful at that, you have the opportunity to go up to a level 5, traditionally a year 2 of a degree program at a university, but we would call that a higher national diploma. Okay, and the idea is that for this type of setup, you can actually step in and step out as you like. You know, sometimes maybe just 1 year of a higher education course is enough for that person to get the promotion or get the job or the career change that they're looking for. They don't necessarily have to do a full degree. So we offer that kind of flexibility. So a HNC, Higher National Certificate, is level 4, HND, Higher National Diploma, is level 5, and then the BSc or BEng or all these different acronyms that they use is the level 6, and that is the degree, the final top level for a degree program. And as I say, the idea is you can step in, you can cross over, you can, you know, deviate off, and we offer that flexibility across the levels.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dan. Right, so I'm just going to take us right through to our final slide, really. In terms of what happens next, I think if you've made a decision to study and to enroll on a university level program at the college, what we'd advise you to do is go to our website, find your program and submit your application. We've been accepting applications for these programs since last November, and while, you know, we will continue to accept them as we progress into the summer and closer to September, obviously our ability to offer spaces depends on whether or not those programs are full. So, you know, our advice would be, once you've made your decision and having all of the information available, you've decided this is for me, please go to the website and submit your application, and we can progress it from there. But if you're not sure and you need some more information, or you need to perhaps have a longer conversation with someone about your circumstances and what it means for you, then the best place to start is with our course inquiries team. Now, you can reach them on 01634 40 20 20 to have a conversation. If you'd rather use the live chat service on our website, then you can head to midkent.ac.uk and the course information team look after that live chat service, or you can send an email to course.inquiries@midkent.ac.uk. Now, that team will do absolutely everything they can to help you and give you the information you need, and that could include introducing you to Dan or one of Dan's colleagues to give you perhaps a little bit more in depth and for you to have a conversation with a member of teaching staff. So all that remains to say is I'm really grateful for you taking the time to come and watch this evening. So thank you very much for coming, and thank you, Dan, for taking time out of your evening to come and talk to us and answer some questions as well. We really appreciate it. So if there's anything else we can do for you, please get in touch and we'll help you in any way that we can. But for the moment, I'll say thank you and good night, and we look forward to seeing you in September. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.